So if you look at SGLT2 inhibitors in reduced ejection fraction patient heart failure management, so it is a full house. It reduces heart CV death, reduces hospitalization for heart failure, it improves symptom burden, important for the patient, important for you also, and all with a favorable safety profile. Hardly anything serious to make you worry about the drug. Mechanism of benefit, there's a huge if you look at the mechanisms that are available for this drug, most important being natriuresis, it causes osmotic diuresis, inhibition of cardiac sodium hydrogen exchanger, modulation of cardiac autophagy and mitophagy. These are all experimental. And the most important thing I always very much impressed with this drug is reduction of sympathetic nervous system activation. There's significantly in every trial it has shown clearly that there is a reduction in sympathetic nervous system stimulation, which is very important in heart failure patient because it's one of the biggest maladaptation in heart failure patient, which contributes to not only worsening heart failure, also to cardiac arrhythmia. So any drug which is going to work there is going to give you a lot of benefit. And reduction in the blood pressure, improvement in vascular structure and function, vascular remodeling, increased production of EPO, reduction in glucose toxicity, increase in vascular regenerative cardiac stem cell, improvement in cardiac microvascular function, and modulation of cardiac energy metabolism. This is another important point. We know very well this drug has a very important metabolic component which is there in the cardiac myocyte metabolism in patients with heart failure, and reduction in the uric acid levels. This is important. You know very well that a lot of the drug you use have a tendency to increase your uric acid levels, particularly with ASARBs. So, and heart failure patients, as such, they have high uric acid levels. So, you need some uricosuric drug which can cause reduction in the uric acid level. And this drug has an effect on uric acid level. It reduces the uric acid level, and it reduction in myocardial oxygen supply demand mismatch, and improved renal function. Improved renal function is always welcome in a patients with heart failure because all your heart failure patients have a difficulty in managing a renal function. So improving renal function will help you a lot. This one we have already seen. So if you look at new diabetes and heart failure guidelines, where SGLT2 is right now, I'm not going into the diabetic part. I'm going to concentrate more on heart failure part. So in diabetes guideline, the guidelines agree that SGLT2 inhibitors are important drugs for management of type 2 diabetes. They diverge on placing the drug on algorithm of treatment. Every guideline has a different place for SGLT2 inhibitors. If you look at ESC, EASD, SGLT2 are first line therapies, while American and Canadian guidelines have a different point of view. The intent is same, even if the detail differs slightly. So ESC and EASD clearly shows the wider primary prevention population. So this is a drug which can be very useful in reduction of cardiovascular risk. If you look at the heart failure guidelines, where DAPA will clearly fit, I would say that I don't know. I have put that on. Yeah, let me see. So if this is how your heart failure ESC guidelines look like at 2016, a patient presents with symptomatic heart failure, you add ACE and beta blocker. Still symptomatic, you add melanocorticoid receptor antagonist. Still symptomatic, and elevation fraction is less than 35%, and is able to tolerate ACE-ARB. You think about replacing it with ARNI. But for me right now, ARNI is a step one drug. I add ARNI along with beta blockers. So if the patient is in sinus rhythm and QRS is more than 130 milliseconds, you can consider putting a CRT, which can help in LV function. And if the sinus rhythm and heart rate is more than 70, in spite of your beta blockers, you can think about putting a ivabradine. Everything fails, you don't have much of option. You have to put the patient for a transplant or a left ventricular assist device. This is how it looks like in 2019. What happens? In 2019, SGLT2 inhibitors are added for prevention of heart failure and treatment of diabetes mellitus patients with heart failure. So, if you look at the Canadian Cardiovascular Society guidelines, the new recommendation says that we recommend SGLT2 inhibitors such as DAPA to be it is getting into a treatment of heart failure as a standalone drug, both in heart patients with diabetes and without diabetes. If you ask me, the pillars of heart failure therapy in 2020 is going to be ACE/ARB, ARNI, beta blockers, MRA, and SGLT inhibitors. The time has come for SGLT inhibitors to become a standalone drug for managing heart failure. To summarize, SGLT inhibitors are firmly embedded in the guidelines for management of type 2 diabetes. These are a small and important difference between guidelines for management of type 2 diabetes. As I told you, my talk is on heart failure, so I'm not going to stress too much on it. But the guidelines for management of heart failure resistant fraction will position these drugs of class is not very clear. Although we know very well that patients with diabetes, this is going to be excellent drug, wonderful drug. It's going to take up in every guidelines, and the evidence suggests that SGLT2 inhibitors should be added to ARNI and beta blocker and MRA in heart failure resistant fraction. Thank you for your wonderful hearing.